This episode was sponsored by Squarespace. What's going on, guys? It's Karl here. Today we're doing one of the biggest comparisons of the year. We of course have the brand new Pixel 4 XL, the flagship, against iPhone, Team Apple's flagship, the iPhone 11 Pro Max. I've had the 4XL since launch in NYC last week, and the 11 Pro Max has been my daily iOS device. We'll start off with the most important thing, which is pricing. This guy starts at $1099, one of the most expensive flagships, and this model right here, fully spec'd out in Canada, $2,000. That's a lot of money, and it's hard for me to recommend a device that expensive. Get the smaller storage option, get iCloud, or just stick to the 11 Pro unless you really need the size, and of course the battery. That's a really important thing. The 4XL is $899, so better pricing, and that's only $100 more than the standard Pixel 4. Unless you're truly in love with the smaller form factor, I think it's a no-brainer. The $100 for the XL is 100 times worth it. Let's go next to design, and although the iPhone has 4 different color options, I think I finally settled on the white. I've moved away from the midnight green. It has a frosted glass or a matte finish on the back. The Pixel 4 XL, 3 colorways, and although one is in orange, I will label that more as coral or salmon. Both that as well as the white are in a matte finish, whereas the black, it's in a glossy finish, and it definitely collects more fingerprints. This is probably my least favorite finish, but if you're not a fan across either or want to protect your devices, you can always throw a skin on it. These ones, of course, linked by dbrand down below. Around the outsides, although both are metal, all of the Pixel 4 models have a matte black finish, and I'm not the biggest fan of this, and maybe there's something in my head saying it's not as premium. Especially for myself, I'm always rocking my phone naked. I'm sure this will get dinged and scratched up. I am a fan though of the off color button on the side. And when we flip around to the actual display, none of these will win any beauty awards. Let's start off first with the Pixel 4. We've gotten rid of the oh so big notch that we saw last year in the Pixel 3, but now we've got an entire forehead. It's bigger than the chin on the bottom, which we still have, and I still don't see too much of a purpose of that, but that's because we have a bunch of sensors on the top now. Other than the front-facing speaker and camera, this is the first phone that has radar built in, and it's an interesting concept because it's all around gestures. And with that, Google is claiming this is the fastest face unlock phone on the market, and they're not wrong, and that tech works because the radar is built in. It will sense when you're reaching towards the phone, it will prime or prep those sensors, so by the time you've picked up the phone, it's fully unlocked. It's the best face unlock feature, but they've also banked on that so much that there's no fingerprint sensor, nothing on the back, and nothing in screen. So it's pretty much like the iPhone with Face ID, except on steroids. It's fast, it's quick. The other gestures though are definitely a bit iffier. Say you're swiping to the next song. That's kind of a hit or miss sometimes, and if I'm fully moving my arm to swipe, I can also simply just tap to switch. And even though the 4XL is a taller device, it has a smaller display. 6.3 inches compared to the 6.5 on the Pro Max. Like I said, it's not gonna win any beauty awards, but the saving grace for this guy, we have a 90 Hz display, and it is so smooth. If you've had the pleasure to use, say, a OnePlus 7 Pro, 7T, you know the advantage of having a 90 Hz screen. But I would say the panel doesn't get as bright as the 11 Pro Maxes. That can get over 1,000 nits of brightness, but it still has that same design that we've seen from the iPhone 10. It just feels so dated right now. And now let's switch around to the most important thing. I think a lot of you have been stoked to see this. It's the camera comparison on the back. And let's start with the new guy first. The Pixel 4, for whatever reason, doesn't have a triple lens setup. And that is the biggest shame in the world because the Pixel 3's camera was a beast. It still holds up today as one of the best smartphone cameras. It takes gorgeous photos, and that continues onto the Pixel 4. We just don't have the versatility, which seems to be across every single flagship. We only have the standard wide and the 2x telephoto. And that is such a shame because Pixel's cameras were usually its saving grace. Don't get me wrong, this thing takes stunning shots. It's probably the best camera, but once again, you're lacking in that versatility, that classic car shot that I always take. I cannot do with this guy. And I honestly think I'm willing to sacrifice camera performance, and the iPhone 11 Pro has definitely gotten better. It's not as good as the Pixel 4, but we have 3 lenses, and that's something that computational photography, that software just cannot do on the Pixel. I think that's the biggest thing Google dropped the ball on this year, and if we had that third sensor, I think we could look past all of the design flaws or gaps in this phone. And the last major thing is battery life. And when you look at the smaller Pixel 4, this is where you start to worry because it's only 2,800 milliamps. This guy has got 3,700, so it's lasted me the entire day, but it's not as good as the 11 Pro Max. That by far is the best feature of this guy. It's the battery life. It's lasted me a day and a half, sometimes even 2 days. It surprised me. Obviously, performance-wise, both are flagships. You're running your own chipsets and silicone on the iPhone. This doesn't even have the latest Snapdragon chipset, but because it has stock Android, because we're in 2019, every single thing that you throw at this guy, coupled with that 90 Hz display, it's been an absolute breeze to use. When it comes down to it, which device should you grab? This is a tough one. Obviously, if you're Team iPhone, you're always gonna stick to the 11 Pro. And I don't know if Google has done enough in its phone. I will definitely still recommend it for photography. It's just missing that extra lens. It has, of course, all of the benefits of stock Android, but it just doesn't seem to be going above and beyond. And nothing really about this phone wows you. If you just wanna be content, if you wanna be happy, if you want a reliable experience, I think that kind of sums up the Pixel 4. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, especially against those photos. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you want to see this compared against any other devices, let me know as well. We'll catch you guys then. Peace. So Squarespace gives people a powerful and beautiful online platform from which to create your own website. You can embed a video background into your website, say like one of my YouTube videos, to really make it stand out. A huge time saver for, say, me, you can have Squarespace schedule your posts over time. You don't have to upload them all manually one by one. Be sure to check out squarespace.com/Karl Conrad. You'll get 10% off your first purchase. Create your own web space, and I will see you over on the interweb somewhere. And best of luck to you all creating your online journey.